Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode 132. On this episode of the podcast, how to strategically negotiate your next raise. Oh, do tell, boss. I'm all ears.
Hey there, welcome to episode 132 of the Communication Diva Podcast, where we help you to get the job, to love your work, and to advance your career. I'm Jen Swanson, and I'm so glad that you're here. Before we jump into today's topic, I wanted to tell you a little bit about a giveaway that's happening. For the next 3 shows, that's episode 132, this one, next week's 133, and the week after that, 134, and until July 17th, the end of the day, July 17th, 2017. If you leave me a review in iTunes, and then let me know that you did that, you will be entered into a draw to win my upcoming course, How to Ace a Job Interview When You Haven't Interviewed in a Long Time. The course is launching in July, and it will only be open for registration for a short time, and then it won't be open again until the fall. So if you look up the Communication Diva Podcast in iTunes, if you leave me a review and then send me an email or a note on Twitter or something to let me know that you did that so that I know how to reach you, then I will put you in the draw and you could win. The course is worth $149, which is what it will cost when it opens in July. And you can either take the course for yourself if you're interested in how to interview really well, or you can give it as a gift to someone else. That will be up to you. So we'll draw the name on July 18th and we'll announce it that week on the show. So good luck. Go over to iTunes when you're done listening and leave me a review, and then let me know. And I hope that you're the lucky winner. All right, so today's topic is how to strategically negotiate a raise. Okay, negotiating a raise can feel like a scary prospect. You might have little or no experience in negotiations. You might feel ill-equipped to even try, but you don't have to be an expert to get good results. The secret sauce here is that you have to prepare a lot. It's not worth winging it. It's a very important thing that you're asking for, and it takes a little bit of time, but nothing that I'm going to share with you here today is difficult or expensive to initiate. So seriously, what do you have to lose but a little bit of time and energy? So first, I wanted to talk about some common misconceptions. I've got 4 of them here for you, and these are common misconceptions around negotiation or myths that I'd like to bust before we get any further. So the first one is that negotiating for a raise is a fight. That is a misconception. It is not a win-lose game or a contest, and it's not that you somehow have to best your boss. This is an unfortunate and a potentially dangerous approach to take that could result in you not even working there anymore if you're not careful. So negotiation is not you versus the boss. When it's done well, it's actually quite a collaborative process where you're working together with your manager to figure out a way to help you feel happier, and if you're happier, then your boss or your manager is going to be happier. So it is not a fight. That is one misconception. It is not a win-lose game. The second misconception is that you have to be good at it. Nope. As I said before, you need to prepare and you need to practice, but you definitely don't have to have any training or certification or a long track record in successful negotiations to be able to try. With the right kind of attitude and with preparation, anyone can ask for a raise. The third thing is that you might decide that you don't like conflict. But who says there's going to be any conflict? Who says there has to be any conflict. If you get into a situation where you're arguing, then you might as well throw up the white flag because you won't be getting your raise. In a good, or dare I say a great negotiation session, again, you'll be collaborating. You'll be planning with instead of arguing against your boss or your manager. And we'll get to how to do that best in a little bit. And the fourth thing is the thinking that the company can't afford to pay me anymore. And you know what? That could be true. But how do you know unless you test your theory? Replacing you would cost far more when you consider the costs of onboarding, the costs of of bringing in a new employee, the costs that are associated with bringing in a new employee, and bringing an employee up to speed productivity-wise. It can take months to get somebody up to the level where they're fast at what it is that they're doing, right? That's the whole probationary time. So you don't have to do any of that. You already have presumably been doing the job for quite a number of months, years, and you don't need to be trained in how to do it. And so you're already less expensive than somebody brand new. If you make a good enough case, it might be well worth it to the company to retain you with an increase. And I want to talk about all of the other ways that you can ask for a raise that don't involve salary. So where to start? Well, the first thing you want to do is to ask in advance for a meeting at a convenient time with your boss or manager, and let him or her know what it is that you want to discuss. You don't want to blindside them or catch them off guard. This will give them time to prepare at their end and won't be a surprise. And this will also give you time to get ready. The last thing you want to do is to pop in to talk about it today without having done any preparation. You don't want to feel rushed. So set an appointment, ask for a meeting time, ask for half an hour. You may not need it, and have it clear to the manager or the boss what it is that you want to discuss. So what do you then have to do? How do you get ready now that you've set this meeting up for yourself? Well, you need to know, first of all, definitively what kind of raise it is that you want. If you're looking for more actual money, then you need to do some research. And you can find out what the typical salaries are in your industry. And there are websites like LinkedIn Jobs and like Glassdoor that can help you with that. Figure out a range and aim for somewhere in that range. So what is the range that a person in your position normally makes? Figure out that range, and don't go for the lowest and don't go for the absolute highest, but aim for somewhere in the higher middle. If you have to fall back to the lower end, you can later on in your meeting. And the key thing here is to be in the right range. You don't want to be way out in left field or you'll get laughed at. And you want to make sure that you are within what most people in your industry with your same qualifications and length of training and length of time in the job, etc. have. So do that research. Doing good, solid homework around salary will show the manager or the boss that you know what it is that you're talking about and that you've prepared for this discussion, which shows commitment and it shows initiative and it shows all sorts of other things as well. And so get clear about what it is you want before you ever go into that meeting. Now, not every raise, as I indicated earlier, involves money. I can think of at least 9 things that you could negotiate for that don't involve a pay increase per se. And I'm going to list them off here, but there are probably more than 9, but I could think of 9 as I was getting ready for this. So the first one would be extra training. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to learn that you would like the company to pay for. Maybe a course that you want to take or a certification that you'd really like to have that would help you in the future to do your job in a more productive way or to increase your salary that way. Maybe it's working on a degree or working on something else. Maybe you can ask for some funds to take extra training, or maybe they have extra training they can provide. The second one would be a phone allowance, especially if you do a lot of work on your cell phone. You could ask for a phone allowance to help pay for your cell phone bill. You could ask for an increase in vacation days. Now, who doesn't want that? So you could negotiate that your raise, you get an extra few days of vacation. And they might be quite willing to do that if they're able to. Another idea are flex days, days that you can come in late or start early and leave late. That didn't sound right, or start early and leave early, or start late and leave late, or maybe you work on a Saturday in lieu of a day that you want to go on your child's field trip or something. The possibilities are endless, and of course it depends on what kind of industry you're in, but maybe you can negotiate for flex days. Maybe you can ask for free fitness memberships. Healthy employees are more productive, and you could make a case for that for sure, especially if your job is sedentary, where you're sitting at a desk all day, or if your job is really stressful. There may be options that the company would be able to take advantage of, group membership purchases, and maybe they'd be able to give you a free fitness pass, which would save you money every month if you're already paying for one. The sixth thing I thought of was stock options. It's almost like money, only it's not, and that can be to your advantage in many ways if it plays out right. So stock options are something you might want to negotiate for. Number 7 was extra benefits, whatever they might be. Maybe you would like to have a registered massage therapy session once a month. Or maybe you want more money for vision correction per year. Or maybe you would like to have the company pay for some business coaching or therapy sessions or something like that. Whatever it is that you want, extra benefits. There might be benefits that you would appreciate that you would be able to negotiate for. The 8th thing would be a shortened work week. Maybe you would like every second Friday off, or maybe you would like to be able to leave work at noon on Fridays, or maybe you don't want to work Fridays at all and you want to shorten down to a 4-day work week. That, in effect, becomes a salary raise, but it may be a way around changing the dollar value that you're paid an hour by being able to shorten your work week. So take a look at that. And the 9th thing that's quite popular and that I enjoy doing a fair bit is telecommuting. Are you able to work from home 1 or 2 days a week instead of taking that long trek to the office every single day? Telecommuting saves the environment, it saves time, it saves stress. If you're driving or transiting, if it's raining and miserable out, it saves energy and it makes for far more productive employees if you're able to do that in your workplace. There are many, many situations where you don't have to meet face-to-face, where you could do it through the powers of technology and save a whole lot of time and stress and things like parking fees and gas. So consider asking if you could telecommute 1 or 2 days a week, or even 1 or 2 days a month, and save that way. And that would be a wonderful way to ask for a raise, a wonderful thing to ask for. All right, so how to go about doing it. So once you've decided exactly what it is that you're asking for, either monetary compensation or one of these 9 benefits or something else you may have thought of, and after you've done your research, here are a few things to keep in mind. Keep emotion out of it. You may very well get a no this time, but that doesn't mean that your request is not being considered. And your no might actually be a yes the next time, or it might be something that the manager goes away and thinks about and comes back and lets you know about later. So keep calm and try to keep your emotions out of it. You're not losing anything, you're just not gaining anything at this point. Don't give an ultimatum. Just don't go there. Bullying or threatening is not classy, and the last thing you want to do is get into a fight. And the thing about giving your boss the "if I don't get a raise, I'm out of here" line is you might very well find yourself unemployed fast. That's the wrong approach. You want to sell them on the idea that they will get something out of this raise that they are giving you if they give it to you. So keep emotion out of it and avoid the ultimatum scenario. Another thing to do is to dress up a little bit. And I know that this sounds like, why would I need to do that? I see this person every day. But it's communication, and the effort that you put into looking nice for the meeting won't go unnoticed. So spiff up a bit if you normally don't. And if you do, then just take a little extra care. Show your boss or your manager that this is important, that this meeting is important. They're putting some time aside for you. You're honoring that. And this is an important half an hour out of your workday. Now, building your case. The approach that will work best is to be collaborative. Use we and think about your organization or your company and what you're trying to accomplish as an organization, as a company, as a team, as a department. And to prepare for this, it's a good idea to take out paper, old-fashioned paper and a pen. You can use computer if you want, but I like to scribble and draw things everywhere. So whatever works for you, write out a list of all the reasons you can think of that you are valuable to that organization, to that company, to your particular department or team. Make a list with bullet points. What are all the reasons that you can think of? Brainstorm until you have a list in front of you. And then you can begin to build your case. You can point to some of your past accomplishments, especially ones that moved the company or moved a particular project you were working on forward. But I wouldn't dwell too long on all of the wonderful things that you've done in the past, because the past is the past. And they've already paid you for that work. What I would focus on is how your experience and your history is a valuable asset to the company, and shift the focus to talking about future potential. What the raise, in whatever format you choose, will enable you to do and what they will get in exchange. In other words, what is the return on investment? And that's really key. It's about what they are going to receive in return out of you, whether it be in productivity, whether it be in less sick time. There's a number of different things. Maybe you're pushing for telecommuting. Maybe you will be saving a couple of hours of telecommuting, and therefore you'll be able to spend more time earlier in the day in contact with people on the other side of the country or the other side of the world that you would normally be reaching later on because of how long it takes you to get to the office. Maybe you can make a case for being more efficient. You can get your calls done earlier. You could be on the phone at 6 o'clock if you were doing it from your home, right? And the early bird gets the worm kind of thing. Maybe you could get in and get some things done before everything gets busy and people are too tied up to talk on the phone. That's one example. Maybe a mobile phone allowance will enable you to be reached more easily outside of work time, but be careful what you wish for in that one. But maybe you can do things that will save time or be more efficient if you're reachable, and you would be reachable probably more so if they were paying for the phone. Maybe a fitness pass will keep you less stressed and therefore healthier. And again, healthier people are more productive, more creative, and need fewer days off, fewer down days, fewer sick days. How will your workplace benefit from you receiving this raise? Keep that in your mind when you're constructing your pitch. I'm really happy here, and I also have a ton of ideas for going forward, and it's been hectic and stressful around here. Being able to take a Friday afternoon off from time to time will allow me to have some downtime, and that will help me to rejuvenate a bit and be even more productive when I'm here, because there's so much about to happen in this next quarter, and I want to be ready for it. Something like that. So again, build your case, but keep emotions and ultimatums out of it, and focus on the return on investment for your boss or your manager. Once you have your pitch, which doesn't need to be very long at all, short and sweet is better, you need to practice it. You need to practice it by yourself. You can practice it with a significant other, with your friends, with your relatives, with anyone you trust who will give you real feedback on your case. Now, I did see one idea that was written about recently, that if you want to get super serious about your pitch, you can even go and apply for jobs, similar jobs in other companies, and go to interviews just to practice. And this will allow you to really know what's out there in the job market. Maybe you haven't been out there for a while and you want to see what's out there, and maybe you can see what you might be able to get if you ask for it. You might also be able to find out how much you already have in the company that you're in. It's really good experience if you want to get that involved in your research and if you have the time and the energy to do it. And if you need help remembering how to do a job interview, I've got a course coming out in July that can help you with that. But again, that seems a little bit more involved than maybe most people want to get into. But it is good to stick your head up every once in a while and look around and see what everybody else is doing in other companies. So if you have the time and the energy to do that, go for it. Once you're practiced up, once you've researched everything, once you are dressed up a bit and you're ready for your pre-arranged appointment with your boss or your manager, take just a moment to think about your body language. As you would in an interview situation, make eye contact when you walk in the room, shake his or her hand when you go in there, and sit down without crossing your arms in that defensive kind of way. A lot of people have that as a habit, but it's a closed body stance, and what that does is it sets up unconsciously a confrontational situation. Body language and nonverbal language is so powerful and can communicate things you don't even intend to. So be very careful with your body language when you're going into a situation to negotiate. As you would in an interview situation, also don't bring your coffee or your water bottle in with you. Leave your gum behind. All of the things that you would be careful about when you're going into a job interview. Think of those things as well and be careful as you go into your negotiation meeting. One of the things that people forget to use that I think is really an important tool is silence. So you're going in with your pitch, and think short and sweet, collaborative and conversational. Short, sweet, collaborative and conversational. That should be the attitude that you go in with. Make your pitch and then be quiet. Use silence as a tool. And I've already talked about that in a previous podcast episode, that silence is an underrated communication tool. It's a void that most people are uncomfortable with. Not everyone is comfortable with silence. And people tend to want to jump in to fill the silence. So you can use it as a tool. Make your pitch and then wait and see while your boss or manager considers what you've just said, and then will respond in one way or another. So use silence as a tool. You don't want to ramble on. You don't want to be defensive or be justifying your pitch. You want to have your practiced pitch that's short and sweet and collaborative and conversational. And you want to lay out your pitch. This is what I think that you have practiced. And then keep quiet and see what happens. Again, it might not be what you're hoping for. There are no guarantees. However, it might just as easily be a yes. If you have done all your research, you're well within the range, and it is possible for them to give you what it is that you're asking for. In any case, the preparation will not be in vain. You may well have made an impression that will last, and there's a very good chance that your boss or manager will know how valuable an employee you are and want to keep you. And maybe be a little bit worried that you might start looking elsewhere. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't say that. But it might be in the back of the person's mind. And as an experienced, productive, happy employee happens to be far more valuable and less expensive than one who is brand new and needs a lot of hand-holding until they get established, then that might be something they're thinking about. Even more valuable and less expensive is someone who is happy and productive and doing well than somebody who's unproductive and unhappy, who takes a lot of sick days and doesn't get a lot done, right? So if you are not that person, if you are a person who does your job and does it well, then there's a good chance that people want to keep you happy and keep you there. I expect that with the implementation of these strategies, you very well might get what you ask for. Well, so that is how to strategically negotiate a raise. And that's it for today. So don't forget to enter the draw by going over to iTunes and leave me a rating and a review for the Communication Diva podcast. Then drop me a note to tell me that you did that so that I have your contact information, and do that before the end of the day on July 17th, and you could win. And if you do negotiate a raise and are successful, having listened to this show and used the techniques, I would love to know about it. And I would love to hear that story as well. So until next time, thanks for listening. This is Jen Swanson. I really hope you have a fantastic what is this? The beginning of summer already. I hope you have a fantastic beginning of summer and that you take good care.